Intel is in a bit of a decline. AMD has secured its position at the top of the CPU performance charts with the Ryzen 9 3900X. Qualcomm Snapdragon-based Windows laptops are starting to show up on the market, and Apple is switching CPU architectures for the fourth time. Luckily, much like fans did for AMD through the K10 era, Intel has a loyal fan base that will see them through the hard times. Also, they have plenty of long-running contracts that still have years of orders left to fulfill. Another thing that Intel has is the NUC, Next Unit of Computing. Intel NUC is a family of SFF, small form factor, computer kits that are designed by Intel and feature their CPUs. Most NUC systems don't come with everything that you need in the box. You have to add things like RAM, storage, and an operating system. This setup is called a bare bones computer, as it is great for customizing a system to meet your specific needs and budget. What Intel means by the next unit of computing refers to the physical size of the machines. Small. If you look back at computer history, you can see a clear trend. In 1943, ENIAC weighed 60,000 pounds, took up 1,800 square feet of floor space, and could only do about 350 calculations per second. 7 years later, in 1951, UNIVAC was introduced. This machine weighed 16,686 pounds, took up 352 square feet, and could perform about 1,000 calculations per second. Then, in 1960, the PDP-1 weighed only 1,600 pounds, was about the size of a refrigerator, yet could perform almost 100,000 calculations in 1 second's time. You can kind of see where I'm going here. I would love to continue this progression to a smartphone that does trillions of calculations per second while being small enough to literally fit in your pocket. But smartphones arise from a totally different DNA. Their story starts with the Motorola car phones of the 80s and the snake-playing Nokia phones a decade later. Sure, as phones became smart, they borrowed a lot from the PC industry, but make no mistake, those mobile pocket computers are of a totally different background than a desktop or laptop PC. Introducing the 10th generation NUC. Featuring the latest Intel processors, the nicer NUC 10 models can be used for content creation rather than just content consumption. These PCs are powerful enough to record and mix music, edit video that includes animation effects just as easily as it can play your favorite shows on Netflix or Hulu in 4K. This Intel Mini PC sports full-size PC performance at a size small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. They are available with a choice of hard drive configurations to meet specific speed and storage needs. The NUC 10 has the ports to connect all your peripherals and keep your data moving at top speed. 10th generation Intel NUC systems come with a range of CPU options, from the Core i3 all the way up to super powerful Core i7 CPUs. Usually only available in a bare bones kit, Intel is offering something a little different with this generation NUC platform. Model NUC 10 i7 FNH is a fully configured PC, not a kit. So, this NUC is already outfitted with 16GB of RAM and a 256GB M.2 based NVMe SSD. This computer includes a 10th generation Frost Canyon Core i7 10710U processor and Intel UHD graphics that add up to a mini PC that is up to twice as fast as its predecessors. If Intel plays their cards right, they could have a good thing on their hands with the NUC platform. We'll just have to wait and see. As time goes on, I would not be surprised to see an AMD version of this platform. Welcome to Tech Daily. I am Matthew, and joining me as always, Joseph Everett. How's it going, Joe?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. The NUC.
Yes.
What is it?
It's what Intel is calling the next unit of computing. Okay? They're referring to the fact that computers are getting smaller, and the big lumbering gray box that used to be the desktop computer is no longer the dominant computing platform in the marketplace. So they're acknowledging that, and they're making these small systems that feature desktop class processors, and that's their initiative for that.
And what functionality does the NUC have?
Well, it's supposed to be able to do anything a big desktop computer can do, just in a very small package. So in the latest, the 10th generation release of the Intel NUC really shows that. The latest ones you can really do anything that you would do on a desktop, including multimedia production and content creation. You can do that all on these small platforms these days.
So you can use this as a replacement for machine for whatever you use it for.
Yeah, like what you're doing, even can be done on these.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now I know it's not the first one, the first NUC.
No, it's the 10th. It's the 10th.
10th generation. So
Yeah.
what improvements has Intel made with the NUC since it was introduced?
Well, when it was first released, it had like a Celeron-based processor, very low end, not a lot of options on the platform. These days, the NUC architecture, sorry, not the NUC architecture, but the NUC form factor has evolved so much now. And they're very reliable, and there's so many options, and unlike any time before, they offer a NUC 10 as an entire platform. See, usually these Intel NUC systems are bare bone systems, so you have to add, your memory and your storage and install your own operating system, and they've made it really easy to do all that, and that's really impressive and great. But for the first time, they're offering, in addition to their normal bare bone offerings, they're offering a complete system that you can just buy from them.
Now, when you say bare bone, they just provide you with the box?
Yeah, like the case and the main board, the processor, and because it's got a modern processor, it's going to have a memory controller, graphics, all of that built in, everything that you need for a computer other than the memory and the storage. And then, of course, because it doesn't have the storage when you get it, that means you're going to have to put an operating system on it. So there's that part as well. And it's the labor savings and all of that have enabled them to deliver this platform at a price point so that enough people can buy it for it to have a 10th generation.
So this one has everything you need in it.
Yeah, this generation is the generation that the NUC has progressed to, that has brought it to a point to where it can afford basically to have an entire system where they pay laborers to put it together and everything. They've built an ecosystem they built their place in the market well enough to be able to do that now, given the portion of Intel's budget they have access
And what are the NUC's limitations, if any?
to. Upgradability is obviously a big deal. You can't upgrade these computers that much. A few of them actually have full-size PCI Express slots, like the high-end gamer version of the NUCs have some limited expandability, but even those are very, very limited. And most NUCs have no internal expansion capabilities. And you can't upgrade the CPUs in these, and that's another limitation. So you want to buy the best one you can afford, basically, because you're not going to be able to upgrade the CPU. But you can add a surprising number of peripherals to these. USB has gotten dramatically faster, and these new ports are 10 gigabits a second. USB 3.1 revision 2 is 10 gigabits a second. I mean, that's absurdly fast for an external connection. I mean, USB 2.0 was 480 megabits a second, half a gigabit a second. And then USB 3 was 5 gigabits a second. And now we've doubled that to 10 gigabits a second. That's ridiculously fast.
Is it USB 4? What is that?
No, it's USB 3.1 version 2.
Ah.
It's a second version of the current version of 3.
Okay. Do you think AMD will follow suit? If so, do you expect similar features?
Honestly, I don't expect AMD to follow suit. It would be really nice if they did, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Obviously, right? We should expect them to. I just don't think they will.
I mean, it's already 10th generation NUC, so probably not, right?
Well, I mean, Intel came out with a couple processors before AMD was like, you know what? We could probably make one of those. So, like, you know, they stand on Intel's shoulders. Those are the giants that AMD stands on, Intel's shoulders. Honestly. So yeah, I would want them to. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. It would be a good move if they did. If they created a little mini PC market. I don't think they will. I think they're doing so well in other areas right now and they're not a huge company, and I just don't see them having the available resources to do that. But it would be nice, and I think because they're not going to do it, I think that it'll be a missed opportunity. Now, you might see a similar platform, similar systems crop up that use AMD processors, and it is a competition to NUC, but I don't see a direct initiative by AMD actually happening, even though I really would like it to. And I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it, because it makes sense for them to do it. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think they can right now.
Well, thank you so much, Joe,
You're
for answering
welcome.
my questions, and I can't wait to see what's next.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, that was Joseph Everett on video call. He is a journalist and tech expert writing for Tech&Geek.com. This podcast is brought to you by One Chair Room Productions, a media company at OneChairRoom.com. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. This has been Tech Daily. I am Matthew, TTFN.